Hello students, welcome back to a new video of Sunanda's tutorial. So in this video we will discuss about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So let's start. At first, the reproductive part of the plant is called as flower. Flower is the reproductive organ of angiospermic plant. It consists of 4 holes. So a complete flower consists of 4 holes. What is that? One is calyx, corolla, then androecium, then gynoecium. First one is calyx. Inner to calyx, corolla layer is there. Then androecium, which is the male reproductive organ. Then gynoecium, female reproductive organ. Next, male reproductive organ. So the individual unit of male reproductive part is called stamen, togetherly called as androecium, but individual unit is called as stamen. Stamen consists of filament and anther. This is the structure of stamen. It consists of a long filament and anther. Okay, the anther is the bilobed structure. Bilobed structure. Each lobe having two theca. Each lobe having two theca or spore sac. Hence, they are called as dithecous. Anther is a tetragonal structure comprising of microsporangia situated at the edge, 2 per lobe. That means if it is the anther which is two-lobed, bilobed, they have 2 sacs or theca in each lobe. So it is tetragonal in structure, like this. Tetragonal in structure. The microsporangia develop into pollen sac later on. Microsporogenesis is the formation of microspore through meiosis from a pollen mother cell. Pollen grains are representation of male gametophyte. The maturity of pollen grains is indicated by vegetative cell and generative cell. So, it is the complete stamen. It consists of a long filament and two anther lobe. Okay. If we cut this anther horizontally, this type of structure is revealed. That means it consists of 4 spore sac. And these are called as microsporangia. That means microspore containing sac. Inside it, from pollen mother cell or microspore mother cell, microspores or pollen grains will be formed by the process of meiosis. That means pollen mother cells are diploid in nature by meiosis. Microspores are formed with haploid cells. Microspores are haploid. Microspore or pollen grains are haploid in nature. Okay. Then these microspores mature and inside one pollen grain, 2 cells are formed. One is called vegetative cell. One is called generative cell. Okay. This is the matured pollen grain. Okay. So this is the structure of microsporangium or spore sac. It is the microscopic structure in plant that produce microspore which develop into male gamete when they germinate. Microsporangia also known as pollen sac. These are microsporangia. A typical microsporangium appears circular in outline, surrounded by 4 walls. These are the walls of this microsporangium. The outer one is called epidermis, then endothecium, then middle layer, then tapetum. Epidermis protects the whole microsporangia. Endothecium helps in anther dehiscence after maturation. Then middle layer, then tapetum, it nourishes the growing pollen grain. It supplies nourishment. Okay. Next, Then sporogenous tissue. Sporogenous tissue at first when anther is young, a specialized cell behave as pollen mother cell or microspore mother cell, which is formed from this sporogenous tissue. Then it undergoes meiosis. This microspore mother cell are diploid in nature. Then it undergo meiosis to form microspores or haploid microspores or pollen grain. Okay, next. And the process of formation of pollen grain or microspores from microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell is called as microsporogenesis. Then pollen grain, that is called as the male gamete or male gametophyte. Then structure of pollen grain, it consists of two layered wall. Outer wall is called as exine, inner wall is called as intine. Okay, remember, exine made up of sporopollenin, intine is made up of pectocellulose, that means pectin and cellulose. So this exine, sometimes some pores appear on this exine called as germ pore, where sporopollenin is absent. Okay, then it forms pollen tube. So pollen after formation by pollination transfer on the stigma of another flower or flower born on the same plant, but after landing on that stigma it will germinate. Okay, so by the process of germination, the germ tube formed from this pollen grain through this germ pore. Okay, next. So mature pollen grain have two cells, one bigger vegetative cell and small generative cell. Okay, next, the female part of the plant, of the flower, female reproductive part called as pistil. Gynoecium, the whole is called as gynoecium, individual unit is called pistil, and pistil, the female reproductive of flower called as gynoecium. It may be monocarpellary, consist of one carpel, and may be multicarpellary, having more than 2-3 carpel. Each pistil consists of stigma, then long style and ovary. Okay, ovarian cavity is present in the ovary, comprises of placenta, where megasporangia emerge, commonly referred as ovule. So inside the ovary, ovule is present. It consists of funicle, hilum, integument, micropyle, chalaza. So ovule consists of two pole. One pole is called micropylar end, one pole called chalaza end. Funicle, then hilum, integuments are the protective covering of the ovule. Then nucellus also, which is present in or to integument, then embryo sac, then female gametophyte. Embryo sac is called the female gametophyte. Ovule is formed from a megaspore. So as in case of male gametophyte, female gametophyte also shows megasporogenesis from megaspore mother cell. 4 megaspores will be formed by the process of meiosis. This process is called as megasporogenesis. So 4 megaspores will be formed, and from that only one will be functional, and form the whole embryo sac, consist of 8 nucleated and 7 cell structure. A typical angiospermic embryo sac consists of 8 nucleated and 7 cell structure. Next, what are the stages of sexual reproduction? At first, the development of male gametophyte, then female gametophyte, then after the maturation of pollen grain, anther dehiscence occur, then anther disperse in the air, and by the process of pollination, it is the transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of same flower or different flower born on the same plant or different plant. By the process of pollination, after pollination, fertilization will occur. Then after fertilization, zygote formed. Then after zygote developed to form embryo. Then embryo leads to the whole plant. Embryo form the whole plant. Okay. So these are three kind of pollination. One is autogamy or cell pollination, where pollination takes place within the same flower, where the grain from the anther are transferred to the stigma of the same flower. Suppose it is the flower, the pollen grain transfer from anther to stigma of that same flower. So here only one flower is involved in the case of autogamy or self pollination. Then the next one is jetenogamy. In this type of pollination, pollen grain transferred from anther to stigma of a different flower of the same plant. Okay, it involves two flower from this anther to the stigma of this flower, but born on the same plant. Two flowers are involved of that same plant. But in case of genogamy or cross pollination, involves the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of a different plant. So here two plants are involved and two flowers are also involved. Suppose these are two plants. From this anther, pollen grains are transferred to this stigma born on a different plant. Okay, this is called as cross pollination or genogamy. Next, what are the contrivances of cell pollination? So cell pollination contrivances means these are some adaptations or mechanism to prevent cross pollination and to promote cell pollination in cell pollinating plant or cell pollinating flowers. So here are some contrivances. At first, bisexuality. When a flower has both male and female reproductive part, it is called bisexual flower. So generally they perform self pollination because they are bisexual. Then homogamy, when male and female reproductive part of a flower mature at the same time, it is called homogamy. As they mature in the same time, there is a high possibility of pollination between the anther of that same flower to the stigma. Then cleistogamy, when flower self pollinates without opening. There are some plants which do not open even after maturity. So cross pollination are inhibited in that case, and they are bound to perform the self pollination. That condition is called as cleistogamy. This is a common trait in grass family. Another plant is Commelina begalensis. They have two types of flower. One is cleistogamous flower, one is chasmogamous flower. Chasmogamous flower is the normal one which open after maturity, but they have some cleistogamous flower also. They do not open even after maturity. So self pollination is obligatory there. So these are some contrivances or adaptations of self pollinating flowers to avoid cross pollination. It is about the contrivances of cell pollination. In my next video, I will discuss the contrivances of cross pollination, then fertilization, then post fertilization events in flowering plants. So it is the part 1 video of the chapter sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So in my next video, I will discuss rest of the part. So please stay tuned and subscribe to my channel Sunanda's Tutorial. Thank you.